Hey, my loves. This is Rebecca from Pillars of the Moon, and I'm just giving you my full moon report for the upcoming full moon, which will be on Thursday, the 24th. So I'm doing it a little bit early today because I wanted to really welcome and honor the solstice today, which is the 21st, which is the day that I'm recording this video on. And yeah, so there's some things that I would like to share around that as well, as the full moon, because I feel like it's all combined, all the energy of the solstice, midsummer point here in the north and the midwinter in the south. It's a real turning point energetically, where we go from either most light to then welcoming in the dark, or time of most dark to welcoming in the light. So it really is a crossing over point and a celebration as well, to be marking the changing of the seasons. So yeah, solstice blessings wherever you are in the world. And I really hope that you're doing something amazing to celebrate this turning of the wheel. I'm actually feeling really quiet today. The energy seems to have dropped a bit, so I'm quite enjoying just being quite mellow. It's quite rainy here today in Glastonbury, where I am. So I'm just enjoying being in my nest. And the fellas have just gone out, so I thought I'll just take this bit of time to do the video for the full moon, which is coming up. So yeah, first of all, I wanted to share a little musings and a little channelings that came through from the solar eclipse. So on the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago, which was in Taurus, I was sitting under a really, really big tree here in Avalon, which I call the placenta tree, because I know lots of mamas who have plugged their children's placentas into this tree. So I call her the placenta tree, but she's also called grandmother lime tree. And so many of us here in Avalon really love this tree. And we've done lots of ceremonies there and gatherings and things. So yeah, she's a very special tree to many of us. She's like the grandmother tree of Avalon. So yeah, at the solstice, I found myself there, not the solstice, sorry, the eclipse. I found myself sitting under this tree, and I'd taken with me, I have a tincture from my son's placenta, and I was spreading it around and singing and connecting with the tree, and felt really quite a lot of energy coming in. So when I came away from the tree, I had to like grab my notepad and bring through some stuff that wanted to be put on paper. So yeah, I'm going to share it with you. And it's very rough and kind of like it's my sketching, and there's a few scribbles on it and stuff, but why not? So these energies are really strong at the moment, and things can be coming through, from cosmic realms. So here we go. So this is my tree that I've drawn. So, you know, I kind of, what I feel is like merging together the astrology with the wisdom of the land, and finding that it is all the same. And so, and it's a journey, right? It's a spiral, it's a labyrinth. We are all in this journey. And when we're aware of the journey, when we're aware that we are moving through a cosmic pathway that we have chosen, and when we can look at our astrology and see where we are in that journey because of where we've come, it's really powerful information to know. And so what I have been receiving is that, we come here as groups of stars, as star clusters, to fulfill certain destinies, certain things that we're wanting to, missions that we're wanting to achieve here. And so it may take as many incarnations, so when I think of it as, when we're born, whatever stars we're born in to, depending on where that is in the cycle of what I've drawn here, it shows perhaps where we are on that passage, on that mission, you know, so I feel, you know, because it is in a cycle, a journey, you know, beginning, middle, and end. And so when you're getting back to, you know, the energies of Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, you know, it is coming into that completion energy and a very spiritual energy. So you'll find people who were born into these stars, you know, of Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, even Sagittarius as well, you know, it's very, very psychic and spiritual energy. So coming into a life, you know, of those energies, it's like, it makes me feel like, okay, so we're coming into mastery of those, of like the elder, of the wisdom keepers, of the psychics and the spiritual energies and all of those realms. So this is just my musings, you know, so I'm just sharing what I'm receiving. But so where to begin on this that I've drawn? So yeah, so this is the tree, you know, so the top part here is like the outer part of the journey. So this is the outer part of the wheel, which us in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in now, you know, so we are coming up to, we are now at the silver gate of reincarnation. So right now we are just coming into the stars of Gemini. So you can see as the tree goes, you know, this is like the real building energy coming up to the height of summer. So the rebirthing time is down here. So this is Aries, this is the fire of birth and restarting. And so you can see the serpent here, the white serpent is coming out from the earth, or the new shoots are coming out and being born from within the womb. So that the wheel down here, or the inner circle, is like the roots of the tree. So, but it's connected to spirit, whereas the top wheel, the outer wheel, is connected to man, living things, you know, the physical, that which we can see. And obviously the spiritual realms is that which is within, and that which is not seen in the material world. So yeah, so the beginning, you know, is the Aries energy of kind of that birthing and coming out from the womb and coming out into the fire of a new beginning. You know, and that needs fire to really get that moving. You know, we need sunshine to activate our seeds, so that they will grow, just as we need the waters of the womb to make it fertile and nourishing and moist. You know, we need the sun, we need the masculine yang to activate the egg, to really bring it to life. So, and then we come up into our Taurus energy. So you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the outer, in the upper, okay? And there's 5 on the inner. And this originally came to me when I was pregnant with my son. You know, this is when Pillars of the Moon came to me, you know, and that actually this is a lunar journey. It's the journey of the moons. There's 13 moons or 13 lunar cycles in a year. So yeah, the 8 on the outer, you know, it's like the 8 upper physical being out there in the world, and then we have the 5 moons of being within and being in the spirit. And that's our winter time, you know, or our autumn and winter. So it's really beautiful to work with like the seasons and the flow of nature, and realizing that the stars and nature are all intertwined. You know, when I'm starting to realize the interconnectedness of everything. And my garden is showing me that again and again and again. And I'll tell you more about that later with this full moon that's coming up. Yeah, so right now, you know, we've come past, this is the spring energy of Taurus. This is the guardian of the east. This is ascending. This is Aldebaran. You know, we're coming up. You know, it's a real time of fertility and beauty and roses and love and connection. You know, we start to connect with others. When we get up to Gemini, this is the silver gate of reincarnation. You know, this is the anti-center of our universe. This is the opposite to Ophiuchus and Sagittarius, where our galactic center is. It's known as the gateway of man, you know, so it's like we're coming into our manhood or our womanhood, whatever you want to call it. This is us coming into our lives as, if you was to see it in the cycle of our life, you know, this is the point where I guess after we've gone through our younger years of the kind of Taurus energy of our like, you know, when we come into our first menstruation, that's where I connect the Taurus energy to. And yeah, when we were in adolescence, basically. And when we get up here to the Silver Gate, it's when we come into adulthood, you know, so there's lots of initiations that happen at this time. You know, this is the time where we, you know, cross the gate into, you know, the outer world, into the physical, into really who we are in this world and who we want to be, you know. And so it's a huge journey, it's a huge process. But obviously then we come into the time of Cancer, the mother rebirthing ourselves, you know, into the world. We have to embody that inner mother inside of ourselves. We have to mother ourselves and start to, you know, nurture and nourish ourselves from within and find that inner security. We might move home at this time, you know, when this is the Cancer energy connected to the home. And then we get to Leo, you know, we're right in the height of summer now. This is where, you know, we've got our first harvests are coming in. We're celebrating Lammas, and it's really warm. It's the fire energy. And this is also connected to the guardian of the south and Regulus. So these are the royal stars on the 4 directions. And so, yeah, this is really connected to our creativity and our passion, community, and connecting with each other and shining like the sun, you know, because the sun is really hot, you know, and Leo season generally tends to be quite a warm time, right? And then we come into Virgo, you know, which many of you know is I really connect with Isis. It's the biggest constellation on the ecliptic belt, takes up a huge portion of the sky. That's why I've done these huge wings, you know, because I feel like, and there's also a supermassive black hole in Virgo, which is, you know, some scientists are doing many research about this, you know, because it's, you know, it's a very powerful place in our universe, is in the constellation of Virgo, Isis. So yes, that is like the summer, the fullness and the fruits of the harvest. You know, we're starting to use all that we're harvesting. You know, we're collecting the herbs and we are making medicine from them. It's about magic and ritual and the priestess. It's also about maturity and mastery of all of the gifts that we're harvesting. And then when we get into Libra, you know, we're coming into really that time before autumn hits. You know, it's that time where things are starting to cool down, you know, the days are getting shorter, and, you know, we've still got lots of harvest and things to do, but we start to think, okay, well, you know, we can feel that the change is coming. And Libra is the golden time, you know, it's the time at the end of summer. It's like, you know, the 10 of discs in the tarot. It's like a good harvest. It's the celebration at the end of summer. It's autumn equinox. You know, we're sitting there and we are giving thanks for all that we have. And also when we're sitting at the table and we're looking at what we've achieved throughout this year in the outer world, we're starting to weigh up, okay, what am I going to take into the underworld of the winter, and what am I going to leave behind? You know, so what is useful and what can we let go of? And this is the energy that we have when we meet with Libra at the end of this summertime. It's like the changing point of weighing up what's valuable to us and what is not. And then we come into Scorpio, of course, you know, we're now, you can see that the energy is coming down. We are starting to really descend into the dark. And we meet with the guardian of the West. This is Antares. This is a time of autumn, depth and release and endings and rebirth. And then, of course, you know, we have a Fucus, and this is serpent. And a Fucus is the descending energy, you know, so this is the serpent that is going in. So this is where our galactic center is. This is Sagittarius A, but it's actually very close to the foot of a Fucus, you know, and so this is where the serpent goes in, you know, and I see this as also, you imagine an apple on this tree branch and it's fallen down, you know, and so it has to break down and descend into the soil, and then the seed goes down and in to the womb here. And the womb is the galactic center. It's the supermassive black hole, that is at the center of our universe. And it's the birthplace of baby stars as well. And it's the womb, it's the yoni, it's the portal of life and death. So, this descending energy of Ophiuchus is a very vital part, so those of you who are still using Western astrology and not including Ophiuchus, it's like to take out Ophiuchus is to take out the descent, which means, it also takes out our connection to spirit. Because to me, this is like the umbilical cord. If you see this as a placenta, this is the outer part of the tree, which is us, which is the physical, which is our body. The energy of Ophiuchus is the umbilical cord, which connects us to the cosmic realms, connects us to spirit. And so taking away Ophiuchus is like taking away our connection to spirit, or taking away the bridge between realms, because that's what I see Ophiuchus as. Ophiuchus is also connected to Christ, Jesus Christ. And so Jesus, he even shows us through his journey, he goes into the tomb, into the womb, the cave, before he then ascends. He leaves behind his physical body, just like the apple, it breaks down its old skin, like a snake sheds its old skin, before it can then ascend into a new being. And so this is the medicine of Ophiuchus and Jesus. Jesus is connected to Ophiuchus. So, to take out that from your astrology, from our astrology, to me, it's like, wow, this is the missing key. And this is right at the gateway of our galactic center taking us into the cosmic womb. So yes, this is why I love Ophiuchus and serpent energy. So yeah, you'll see as well, it's like the fire of Aries to be born, in the spring, but also the fire of death. It's like the gates of hell, right? The fiery gates of hell. There's fire to go in and there's fire to go out, so it's like you have to cross the fire, so this is interesting as well, because if you think about cremation and, the endings of life, it's like crossing over. So I'm talking a lot about crossing over today, because this is the time of this full moon, and the summer solstice is about crossing over into a new being. So this is where we have our golden gate of the gods, so this is our connection to the gods, to our godly selves, to spirit, to our ancestors, to all of our family in the stars. So once we go through the gateway of Ophiuchus and we meet with Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the spiritual visionary, and Sagittarius is connected to travel, right? People who are into travel often have a good connection with Sagittarius, but I think it's more than that. Sagittarius is about astral travel. It's about visionary movement through the cosmos, through our upper chakras, and it's our connection to the divine, that we access through the galactic center in Sagittarius A. And we have to go through the fire, to really ascend into these realms. So once you get through the gateway of Sagittarius, you meet with the father, Capricorn, which is connected to God, Saturn, the sun, and Aquarius, which is the goddess, the mother, the moon. I actually connect the moon to Aquarius. It's very it's the chalice, it's the Holy Grail, it's the fountain of youth. So this is within, and you'll see here, I've got this Vesica Pisces, which is the union of the two within, so it's the mother and father energy is as one. And when they come into wholeness and they meet, within, and when we merge those energies within ourselves, what is created is the divine child. It's the seed of life. It's creation itself, and this is Pisces energy. This is why, when you look at the center of the Vesica Pisces, it looks like a fish. I've drawn a little fish here. And so this energy here, I've connected to, I've drawn kind of like a chalice here, at the bottom, which is holding it all in. It's the fountain of life, which holds, the spiritual realms. And I connect this energy to the goddess Nui in ancient Egypt. This is the guardian of the north also, which is connected to the royal star Fomalhaut. So also the winter, the crone, the ancestors. So this is basically the journey that I feel that we are all part of. And so it merges together, the wisdom of the land and the seasons and the placenta and the body and the trees and all of this physical. And it brings a cosmic aspect to it, so we can say now, for us who are in the northern hemisphere, we're in our summer solstice, we can really feel this energy here at the Silver Gate. But on the other side of the world, you're in the southern hemisphere, you're still at the gate because it's the crossover point. You see, the Golden Gate and the Silver Gate are opposite each other, and the Milky Way is what joins them together. So there's so much perfection in it all, right? It's like beyond profound. So I just thought I would share that with you because, I'm pregnant again. And I feel like when I'm pregnant, I'm super psychic, more than normal, and get lots of stuff coming in. And so, yeah, I really want to share that, which I'm receiving. Because it feels really powerful to me, to be sharing that, it feels really like powerful in my body. And I feel like this is the gift that the children are bringing to me as well through my pregnancies and birthing, is this ancient wisdom, which I feel has been lost somewhat, by the astrology system that we're in now, the time system that we're in now. It really is fake time, and so when we're connecting with the cosmos and we're connecting with what is now, the actual living sky, it just brings us into this real kind of synchronicity and synthesis with all that is. And we start to be in the center point of this wheel. And one of the cards I drew actually for this full moon was the Six of Wands. And you can see this is from the Mother Peace Oracle deck. But she's in the center of the wheel, so the wheel is all around us, right? But we are the center point in it. And we are part of all of it. So the stars, the planets, it's all part of us. And we are made up of stardust. So because this card is really about leadership and being the winner, and choosing to win. And it's like actually choosing to sit in that center point on the wheel and reclaim that as our birthright, that this is the ancient wisdom that, we know deep in our bones to be true. Well, I definitely do anyway. So anyway, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I hope you like that, by the way. It's just a little bit of inspiration. I'm going to share the live sky with you now. So I'm going to drink some more lovely tea. So as you can see down here, this is today, I believe. Yeah, let's just double check. It's 22nd. Sorry, today's the 21st. So we're back to where we are. This is where we are today. Let's get it right. It's going to jump around a little bit till I find the right position because I want to show you something. Okay, so if I can get, aha, here we go. So we've got the sun at the top there, and you can see right now in the sky that the sun is right between Taurus. It was just in the horns of Taurus, and it's just moving into Gemini now. So on the ecliptic line, it is just crossing over into Gemini. But it's actually in the hand of Orion. I'll show you. This is the constellation Orion. So the sun is positioned right in the hand of Orion. So at the solstice, the sun actually appears like it's not moving for 3 days. So it's a 3-day portal where the sun it appears to stay still, where it's obviously because of the tilt of the earth, it moves. And so it doesn't rise and set at the same point every day. So when we are at the time of the solstice, it's its northernmost point in the sky. And it appears that it doesn't move for 3 whole days before it then moves along. And this is interesting because, you know, when you think about Jesus and the tomb and the 3 days of resurrection, to ascend, and this thing I was talking about before about, you know, having to return to the earth for 3 days, and the ascension that comes after that, and that's the medicine of the fucus. So right now the sun is, you know, right in the hand of man. It's right at the hand of the silver gate of reincarnation. And so Orion is also connected to Osiris of ancient Egypt. And so he's also connected to reincarnation. So this is where the silver gate is in the sky. And so this is where the constellations Taurus, Gemini, and Orion meet. And also, you know, if you look above here, this is the constellation of, it's really hard to say all these words, but Argia. Anyway, it's the charioteer. So I really connect this energy with the chariot, you know. So those of you who are into tarot know about the chariot. You know, it's about going on a journey. It's about making movement and being in your vehicle and like being able to steer in the right direction, you know, about having a vehicle that's under control, and you know how to drive your car and all of that. So, you know, we think about this is like, this constellation is right next to the sun right now. And so it feels like, because I've been really fascinated about, so I'm trying to zoom out so I can get it all in one screen for you. So I'm going to move this forward to the 24th, which is when the full moon is. Yeah, so you can see now, so the moon is down. Whoop. Oh, it's going to be moved, isn't it? Thank you for your patience with all of this. It does jump around this program. I always say that, don't I? Every time. Oh, if I could just get the blooming thing to... Okay. There's the sun. It's because I'm trying to get it all in the same page. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Right, so the sun is up here, which is just moving into Gemini, and it's at the silver gate. And so when you look at the moon is down here, which is at the golden gate. So the full moon that's coming up in Sagittarius, which will be on the 24th, is at the golden gate. And at the time of the solstice, which is where we are now, today, you know, we're at the silver gate, and this is a 3-day initiation journey. So, and it feels like, so what is joining together, I'm just going to get the Milky Way on it as well for you. Make it even more complicated. Aha, here we go. This is what I want. I want Sirius involved. So the sun is aligned with Sirius right now. And so this is the Milky Way, which goes all the way, which joins the gateways, right? So it joins the silver gate over here where the sun is, and it's joining it together with the golden gate, which is down here in Sagittarius. So the Milky Way, you know, this has been fascinating for me because I've been like, I'm really researching into all of the constellations that are on the Milky Way, because it feels like a cosmic journey, you know. And I got the movie Finding Nemo came into my awareness. I don't know if you remember, in the movie they're following the channel, you know, to get to where they want to go. And I've had it happen in many meditations and different dreams that I've had about following this particular channel home. And so I feel like, you know, the Milky Way is a trail. It's a pathway that we follow back home. Once we've finished our life, you know, once we've died in this physical realm, you know, we go through the gate, Silver Gate, and we, make our way down the Milky Way, you could even see it as water. I see it all as cosmic water, and it's like swimming. We're swimming from one realm of being, like in the physical, we are like water, evaporating into gas, into spirit. And so something that I find really fascinating is I'm trying to find, where's the boat? Is it this one? Yeah, the ship. This is the boat. It's called Poppies. I don't even know if I'm saying all these right. But anyway, there's a boat. If I bring up the constellation art, you might be able to see it as a boat. Let's see. Yeah, it's a boat. So anyway, there is a boat that is here. And so in many, many ancient traditions and stories, especially the Maori people in New Zealand, I remember this really clearly when I was there. The Maori elder was telling me about, when the souls pass from this life, they go into the underworld and they meet in this ship and they get carried along to the west, which is where Scorpio is, right? And Antares, it's the west, it's the death, and get carried in the boat to meet with Hades, the Lord of the Underworld. It's not called that in the Maori tradition, obviously, but that's the journey that is taken. And then obviously when we get to that galactic center, that's where Sagittarius A is, and we've got all of the nebulas and star clusters and portals and our connections to other realms and things through there. So anyway, this story of the ship, and going into the water, it's also connected to Avalon. We have many stories here of getting in the canoe from Glastonbury and going along the lake, merging, and then coming out in the land of the blessed, or Avalon. And throughout different cultures you can find, I think in ancient Greece and in Irish, Celtic, Scandinavian, so many different traditions, they talk about going into the waters, into the ocean to return home. So it's interesting how on the Milky Way, on this channel, cosmic channel, the first thing we have Sirius, we have this Orion, which is connected to Osiris, and Egypt, connected to reincarnation, and then we have the dog star, Sirius, and the dog, it's also Anubis, which is also connected to the underworld, right? So this is fascinating when you start kind of researching into all of this and the wisdom of the stars. It's like reclaiming the mysteries and delving into all of this for ourselves. I'm not talking too much about the full moon, am I? But why not? This is what's coming through. So yeah, so this is the Silver Gate, and we're journeying on down. You can follow it down. And then an interesting constellation that came through for me was the cross. So I've been talking about crossing over. This is a crossing over point, so to cross over, it's an ancient symbol, the cross, and it's got the 4 directions in it. So you think north, south, east, west, and the directions of the cross, it lines up with the 4 royal stars. So it's like, we're crossing over, we're in our boat and we're crossing over. Yeah. And then we meet with Centaurus. So Centaurus is connected to Chiron. It's the centaur, and he's pointing his arrow. So his arrow is pointing at the galactic center. He's gone upside down now, but anyway, so his arrow is pointing down this direction, and Sagittarius's arrow is pointing up this direction. And they're both pointing towards this area here, which is where the galactic center is. So isn't it interesting? And this is where our full moon is going to be lined up with. So this full moon is incredibly powerful because it's lined up to our galactic center. And then another constellation that jumped out at me is this constellation here, which is called Norma. And this is actually an old Druid symbol, and it's connected to Odin, and it's the key to the gods. So at the gateway of the galactic center, there just so happens to be a key to the gods at the Golden Gateway. So you need the key to get in, basically. It's just been left here in the stars for us to collect if we know what we're looking for. What else was I going to share with you? So Sagittarius. This full moon is going to be in the stars of Sagittarius. So Western astrology is seeing that it's in Capricorn. You can look for yourself. All you need to do is, get one of these apps and look at the live sky. And you can see that it's in Sagittarius. And once you start looking for yourself, maybe you'll receive, more visions and wisdom that's coming in. Because it's once we start connecting with the cosmic wisdom and the stars, it's like we really come into a place of power and leadership of the wheel. It's like, aha, maybe we can get some images coming in and connecting dots. Stars are like dots and they're all connected. We are stars and we're all connected to each other, right? And we're connected to the stars. Anywho. So yeah, this full moon will be over here in Sagittarius. I'm just going to remind myself of the time of it. So in the GMT time zone, it's 19:39 in the evening on the 24th, which is Thursday here in England of June. So I'll jump back to the chart in a minute. I just want to talk a bit more about Sagittarius. So I've spoken before about Sagittarius as being the archer. I really connect Sagittarius to Artemis, and the reason that I connect her to Artemis is because Artemis is also connected to Diana of ancient Rome. In Greek, it's Artemis. Or Artemisia is the plant. The plant is mugwort. Her real name is Artemisius vulgaris. And so what's interesting is the energy of Sagittarius is right at the gateway of the galactic center. It's pointing at the galactic center and represents the visionary or the traveler. So this is about traveling in an astral way. This is about spiritual journeying, spiritual expansion. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So I'll be talking a lot about Jupiter when I look at the chart, but you can see here Jupiter is over in Aquarius right now and he's just going retrograde. He's just started, I think today or yesterday, he's stationed direct and he's going backwards. So we're going to be reviewing, a lot of the stuff that's been coming up over the last little while connected to Aquarius. And so Jupiter being in Aquarius right now, we're feeling a lot of this Aquarian energy, but also, this is really influencing our moon, our full moon in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius being connected to Artemis, as I like to see it, it's the protector of women and children. That's what who Artemis or Diana was. It's the protector of the womb, right? So when you think about, I've said about the galactic center, which is here as well, and this is the womb gateway or the womb portal, so the two Centaurus, which is the archer here, and Sagittarius, it's like they are protecting the womb, and Scorpius as well, and obviously the serpent bearer of Ophiuchus is here. So this is really powerful energies that are all centered around this womb portal and this gateway. Of course, such a gateway needs to be protected, right? So the Sagittarius energy to me and what this full moon could be bringing for us, it could be about protection. It could be about boundaries. It could be about, not letting some people into our sacred space, but also the energy of Sagittarius being visionary. It may bring us into this really spiritual perspective. And an interesting thing, this positioning there's a constellation that's just next to Sagittarius, which is here. It's called the Corona Australis. So the Corona Australis is a crown, you know, so, and the coronavirus has been, you know, around for the last 2 years now, you know, has been playing a big part in our lives, right? Whether we like it or not, this is what we're faced with right now. So this full moon, which is coming up this week, you know, at this time of the solstice, which is an incredibly powerful time of activations and awakenings, it's bringing us into our crown. You know, this is about crowning ourselves, and our crown is our connection to spirit. And I was talking to you earlier about my garden and how I'm feeling like the interwovenness of everything. And my mugwort plants, my Artemisia vulgaris plants, they are bigger than my partner this year. They're so huge. We're not quite sure what to do with it all. So I've been giving it away to all the women because it's not actually good for me to harvest it at the moment because I'm pregnant and it can bring on bleeding and stuff, menstruation. I don't want that when I'm pregnant so much. So the mugwort plant, which is called Artemis, which I connect to the constellation Sagittarius, is our connection to the spiritual realm. So when you take mugwort tea before bed, it can bring you into a state of lucid dreaming. So the lucid dreaming, it's that connection to the spiritual realms, you know. And me, when I'm obviously not pregnant, I use mugwort quite regularly because I find that it just brings so many insights for me, and it really brings me a lot of clarity and visions and guidance from the spiritual realms. It kind of like connects me. It kind of brings me into a position of the bridge, you know, of cosmic bridge. I become the cosmic bridge, you know. It's like I'm channeling spirit into matter through my dream time. And so if I'm doing this in a really conscious, aware way, you know, and I've got Artemis is actually protecting me as well, you know, and holding my boundaries while I'm doing this. And this is, you know, another thing that Artemis is about, you know, it's about protection, spiritual protection. So we can go on these spiritual journeys and these cosmic journeys to connect with our source, with our fountain of life. You know, when you think about Jupiter right now is over in Aquarius, that's the fountain of life. So this full moon, we may be feeling that connection to the fountain, our cosmic energy that is available to us. Can we tap into that? Can we resource ourselves from that? Can we fill ourselves up and drink from that fountain, you know? So the crown, you know, this is the Corona Australis. This is what this whole blooming journey with coronavirus is about. I feel, you know, on, you know, many multiple layers, is actually reclaiming our crown, reclaiming our connection to spirit, you know. And when we think about when we're born and we're born through the birth, through the vagina, you know, our head is crowning, you know, we are crowning onto this realm, you know. So our crown, our head is our connection to the womb, the mama, you know, where we came from, the void. So when we're thinking about the crown and the crown australis, corona australis, which is the crown at the feet of Sagittarius, it's like we are crowning ourselves, you know. And the herb mugwort, you know, I think I mentioned this in my last video, you know, it's an ancient tradition on these lands, you know, at the summer solstice, that we would gather mugwort and make crowns from it and dance around the mugwort, the mugwort fire, dance around the summer solstice fire, and then throw our crowns into the fire, into the flames, to bring a year of good health and protection to our friends and family. So this is the medicine of this full moon. The wisdom of the herbs are the wisdom of the stars. You know, I can see the interconnectedness in all of it. And I mentioned before about Centaurus. Like this is the other archer, which is pointing in the other way. They're both pointing in the same place. The galactic center, the yoni, the womb, where we all came from before we came here. Do you remember? I keep asking my little boy, do you remember where you were before you came here? You know, he's just putting together sentences now, so I'm hoping soon he'll start to tell me if he can still remember, which I'm sure he can. So yes, Centaurus is, I've also got a plant growing in my mugwort, and it's called Centaurus montanus, and it's this beautiful purple flower. Purple is the color of the crown. And so the plant, Centaurus, is connected to Chiron, it's connected to the centaur, it's connected to healing. You know, so there's so much magic that's growing out there in the garden. It's like showing me, like, because it's pointing up, they're growing so high this year. It's like, come on, look, we are one, we are connected, you know. And what I'm seeing in the stars is Centaurus, you know, and Sagittarius, mugwort, is there together in the sky, pointed to the galactic center, you know. It's like, oh goodness. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff that, you know, goes through my consciousness over the course of the solstices and when different things are happening. So I often find at these times, you know, there was a time where I would be up on Glastonbury tour partying and drumming and dancing. But now I like being pregnant as well and being very sensitive, feeling all my antennas. I'm like, okay, I really need to be resting and I need to be receiving because there's a lot coming in. So if we can give ourselves spaciousness over the next 3-day period, you know, before our full moon comes, it could be a time of really receiving from this silver gate, which is where the sun is. And then by the time we get to the full moon, you know, we're at the golden gate of the gods. So this could be a real energy of ascension. It could be a real energy of spiritual, visionary, like awakening time. So let's just hold that intention, you know, and really hold that focus. It's like redirecting our energy into what is real, what is now, what is true. You know, and Sagittarius is also often connected with truth. Spiritual truth, spiritual beliefs, you know, and what are our beliefs? What are our truths? So this full moon could be a real time of redirecting back on course. What is true for me? What does my intuition say? You know, I'm tapping into my crown. What am I receiving from my inner compass, which has been what this whole cycle has been about. You know, it's about coming back into our center and finding our inner compass. You know, and also finding the things that wobble us, you know, that which is being expanded for us right now, thank you, Jupiter, is for our healing, you know, and it's because it's like to bring our awareness to it. You know, it's like, hey, so there is something that is niggling me, that is triggering me, that is wobbling me. And it's doing that to bring me back on course, you know, to bring my awareness into it and come into leadership. I'll show you this card again. And this time of year in the north, you know, it's a lot about the masculine energy of the sun. But that could be about our father figure and embodying that father within, you know, not looking to an external source, but like the government or our own dad or whatever, but embodying that in ourselves, you know, having good, discerning values. And, you know, you can be fierce when you need to be, and you can be soft when you need to be. You can be loving and you can have courage to share your emotions with others and your feelings. You know, so this time of year with the solstice and the sun energy being so strong, you know, we can be called into our inner father to start really embodying our authority and to take responsibility, you know, for what we're here to do and who we are. And, you know, finding that center point, you know, that place that's really our intuition and our spiritual self. We're getting to an aligned place so that source soul energy can come in. we can become that channel. It's a very powerful time, this solstice time, to really tap into our cosmic power, and so the Sagittarius full moon will be really helping us to do that. Some of us who are naturally kind of intuitive or psychic, or we could be receiving a lot at this time. So if you are one of those people, it'd be really great to take some time out and do some journaling, do some art, whatever is coming through, get it down on paper, so it's like, wow, okay, yeah. Or just receive it in your being, and just, it could bring a lot for us, and it's like there's a lot coming through for us to receive right now. So yeah, try to create space to receive it if you can. So I think that's all I'm going to share from the sky, from the live sky on here on Stellarium Web. I definitely, would love for people to start looking into this for themselves and tuning into the constellations, because it's all here. All the mysteries are here for us to see. Like this key, this constellation here, this key, which is at the gate. It's at the Golden Gate. The key is here. It's just left there in the stars. So it's up to us to go and pick it up and say, okay, I'm going to go through the gate. And then see what we receive from that. So yes, let's go to the sky map. So I'm going to drink some more tea. So something that really jumps out to me about this full moon when I'm looking at the chart, we've got this fiery energy of Sagittarius, of course, that's taking us into the galactic center. This is the full moon here. This is potent, fiery energy, which is connecting us to spirit. It's connecting us to the divine. It's connecting us to the cosmic mother. This energy is strong fire. We've also got Pluto retrograde in Sagittarius as well. So this is double whammy of that energy. Pluto is very potent, as we all know. So, but what is actually showing up for me a lot more, which I first saw, it's probably because I've got a lot of water in my chart, is this beautiful trine between the South Node, which is in a Fucus, Mars, who's over here in Cancer, and Chiron, who's over here in Pisces. So this is very watery. This is very watery energy indeed. And obviously a Fucus is ether. So it's like all of the elements combined. It's like the fifth element, which is love. That's what I see as ether as. It's beyond the elements. It's just all the elements. It's everything merging. And yeah, and that is love, right? Love is in everything. So yeah, this trine, it feels like it's healing the past. South Node is connected to the past. Chiron is connected to healing, and Pisces is connected to the collective. And then the Mars energy is connected to the masculine or the warrior energy. So in Cancer, this is really emotional and feeling, so we could be feeling lots of water at this time, in our beings. We could be feeling very emotional. And with the fire of Sagittarius, this is a really nice alchemy, because fire and water, it is the energy of alchemy, right? But also could be very emotional. It could be very hot emotions coming through, with the energy of the fullness of the moon illuminating all of those things inside of ourselves that we are now, ready to move on from. Another card that I drew for the full moon was the Four of Cups, which is this woman crossing over the river to merge with the ocean. And this card is about letting go of past disappointments. And crossing over. It's like letting go. It's like, okay, I now release myself from that and I'm moving on. And in doing that, you know, we come into this place of fire. So it's got like the fire and the water here from these two cards, isn't it? Like, wow. So, and we have the fire of Sagittarius and then the water of this trine. And so these two energies working together, it's really a lot of healing can be coming at this full moon. You know, and I really do feel the Jupiter energy really strongly at the moment too. And that's because, you know, the full moon being in Sagittarius, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. Jupiter is just going retrograde now. So you can see Jupiter here. It's retrograde in Aquarius. So we all know we're moving towards the age of Aquarius. So Jupiter is wanting to expand all of these things Aquarius, you know, so, and Aquarius connected to the cosmic realms, you know, the extraterrestrials, the celestial waters of the Holy Grail, you know, it's like expanding on that, you know, there's a lot there to be explored. So yeah, this full moon feels very, very deep and very healing. And it's actually the culmination of, you know, our eclipse season. Because, you know, we've had a lunar eclipse in Scorpio and then a solar eclipse in Taurus. But this is like an 8-week journey. So we're now at the last 2 weeks of that. So this full moon is like the whole, everything that's come up over the last 6 weeks. You know, it feels like this really kind of big energy of this full moon. It's like calling us back into source, galactic center, you know, where we came from, our intuition, our cosmic wisdom, you know, so and we have crossed over, you know, there's so much that we've let go of, especially with that lunar eclipse in Scorpio. My goodness. You know, so this whole, you know, thing has been about, you know, letting go of something so that there's space for this new to come in. You know, we need to let go of things, you know, for new things to come through. So once we let go of things, you know, there is space that I've found for me personally. You know, I've had Lilith has been dancing around my Chiron at the minute, and Mercury as well. So I've got my Chiron, my wound is in Taurus, so, and it's at 22 degrees. So you can see Chiron, not Chiron, Lilith is around here. And actually today, as I'm speaking, she's at 23 degrees of Taurus. So I was like, been having a lot coming up recently to do with my past and my wounds. And oh my goodness, I'm crying a lot. I'm feeling really sad. And, you know, I've come to this point now of like crossing over. And I felt a big shift yesterday and like, wow, I'm ready to let go of that now. I've cried the tears and I've felt the feelings. I've honored that. But what my medicine is now is to come into this position of leadership in myself, to be the inner mother and the inner father for myself. You know, really, that for me is the biggest act of healing, you know, to nurture myself and to look after myself like the father would, you know, and to embody, that is embodied leadership for me, you know. So this is a very potent time. Many of you who are born around the same time as me, I was born 1987, will also have your Chiron in Taurus. So Lilith is also dancing around your wounds. So many of you who are around my age, you know, in your mid-30s, will definitely be feeling this Chiron Lilith energy at the moment. So yeah, it's really about healing, letting go of the wounds of the past, and not even so much letting go, but transforming them. You know, it's like honoring and loving, saying thank you so much for everything you've taught me, and I'm now ready to move on. You know, so we give it back to the cosmic womb. You know, we give it back to this full moon, to this fire of Sagittarius. We burn, that which we could write a letter to our wounds, or to somebody that's hurt us or whatever. And in this fire of this full moon, we could really let that go. And in that release, you know, of all of that space, it's energy, right? These processes that we have, it's like then make space for something new to come in, to fill that space. And this spiritual energy is very strong right now. So we might feel like this rush of like the fountain of life filling us back up. And so there'll be new information coming in, new ideas coming in through the process of death, through the process of letting go, you know, which is what the lunar eclipse in Scorpio is really teaching us about. So yeah, we're coming to the end of all of this now. And so moving over to the last quarter moon, because you know I like to work in the whole cycle, or a spiral even, because you know when we get to the dark moon of every cycle, it's like that coming back and in, like the spiral does, in on itself. Every cycle is like a spiral. So this lunar cycle comes to its last quarter on the 1st of July, 22:10 in the evening here in England. And so, wow, what a completion. You know, so this last quarter moon is going to be conjunct Chiron. So I've just been talking about Chiron. Wow, we are healing. We're healing our feelings, our emotions. You know, and we're really like, this could be a time of like replenishment, you know, of resting, dreaming. In Pisces, you know, it's connected to the dream and the spirit. So we could be doing lots of sleeping, lots of dreaming, lots of reflecting, lots of journaling around things. And yeah, the last quarter moon feels like a really, really healing one. And it's like the end of this huge, huge 8-week journey of transformation. And so whatever the eclipse season has brought up for us during this time, you know, next week when we get to our last quarter moon, wow, it's like, wow, let's just let all of that sink in. Let's just take a little break. Maybe we could go away for a few days somewhere, or maybe we could like have a few days in bed. Let's see if we can resource ourselves to do that, you know, to really process. You know, it's like at the end of a yoga class. I'm also a yoga teacher, right? So at the end of a yoga class, you need to have your shavasana to integrate. So this last quarter moon with Chiron, it's like we need to integrate. We're in Pisces, we need to feel, we need to rest, we need to dream, we need to allow all of what has risen for us to just really, let's just stop. And let's really feel and let our body catch up with everything that's happened. And then of course we'll be going through our new moon cycle after that. So I feel like that will be like a real kind of fresh energy, you know, if we are resting and nourishing ourselves at this last quarter moon. You know, and there's also like this trine that I was talking about in the full moon is still happening. So, but now the moon is joined with Chiron, so you can still see here the south node and Mars, and Venus is also in Cancer now, so this is really nice. Venus joining with Mars, it's like the masculine and feminine coming together in the water for a nice healing swim. Or two mer people swimming together. Yeah, so this trine here, it's like trines are really useful, I find. You know, it's helping us to integrate energies. It's like a nice flow of energy. And then as well, like I've noticed there's another trine, isn't there? There's like a beautiful Star of David in this chart, a 6-pointed star, which is incredibly healing energy. And that's between Pluto and the ascendant for us here in England, in Sagittarius. And Vesta, who's over in, this is the asteroid Vesta that's over in Leo. And yeah, so this is, oh my goodness, look, we've got Uranus, Ceres and Lilith. And so this is fire. So this is a beautiful fire trine. So, and I was saying about the full moon being about the fire and the water and the alchemy, you know, of the feelings and the emotions and the softness and the feminine, and then also that masculine energy, you know, that's really needed to activate things. So, wow, this beautiful last quarter moon, it feels like a really, you know, with the two energies of these two trines, it's like a really harmonizing energy of the masculine and the feminine within us, you know, so the mother and the father within. And this could be a beautiful time, you know, to really honor that in ourselves and to do ceremony for that in ourselves. And I will actually be teaching my last yoga class at this time as well. So yeah, so I'm going to stop sharing all this screen now. I just wanted to say that, yeah, I've decided to quit work early this time because, yeah, our baby isn't due until October, but I'm just really feeling like I just want to be a mama, be at home and just be with my family. My little boy is 2 next month. So yeah, he's changing so rapidly now as well. And really wanting to just be in that space with him and just be with just me and him until this next one comes. So yeah, so I think this is probably going to be my last video for a little while. I'll definitely still be posting every now and then when I feel inspired to, which as I get further along in my pregnancy will probably be getting quite cosmic. As I get closer to the birth portal, you know, it becomes quite wow. Yeah, so yeah, keep following me on Instagram and Facebook. I'll definitely still be posting stuff, but just the videos every 2 weeks. I'm going to drop that now and pick it up again later when the time feels right. So yeah, it feels really good actually. It's like, yeah, and then I can just be mama. Because that's enough. Those of you who are mamas will probably understand, you know, it's quite a lot to hold a toddler and be pregnant. So yeah, just this is a beautiful completion time for me as well. So yeah, I also wanted to say if those of you who've been following my channel, I'm really grateful for all of the readings that I've done, all of the people that have been interested and stuff. If you want to keep following these threads, there's some amazing astrologers that I follow and some of my teachers. Definitely follow Rastar13, that's Kim on Instagram. She's got a YouTube channel as well and a Facebook page. And yeah, jump on over to Sidereal Revolution on Facebook. That's a group you can follow. There's loads of cool astrologers on there. Michael from I think it's One Sky Astrology, you can check him out, and River as well. I will tag them all in the link in the end. He's an amazing astrologer. I share a lot of their stuff, and Starship Moonbeam as well. Verone, I think that's the name. So yeah, I'll tag them all in it. So if you want to follow them, they do some amazing sharings as well. Yeah, thank you for everything, everyone. It's beautiful journey, astrology. So thank you for allowing me and witnessing me and sharing my soul, my vision. I'm very grateful. So yeah, I'm gonna go now. I'm just gonna show you my my baby. So yeah, sending you all so much love. Mwah! Happy full moon and happy solstice. I love you all so much. Ciao for now.